909 in Studio is brought to you by 90.9 The Bridge in Kansas City. To find out how you can become a sustaining member or to donate, go to bridge909.org. Truly an honor to be joined by Sam Beam, who, you are Iron and Wine, right? You're Iron and Wine right now.
Right now, I am, John. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
I think so.
The band kind of varies. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's a big band.
Yeah, it's a band with one permanent member.
Yeah. So what do we expect tonight at the Midland Theater?
It's a band with 5 members.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to be able to come to the radio and do some stuff by myself for a minute.
Yeah. So you have been incredibly busy, and I hope you don't mind if we just sort of run down a little bit of a laundry list.
Sure, yeah.
First of all, Grammy-nominated Beast Epic.
Yeah, that was nice, huh?
Yeah, pretty cool, right? Weed Garden, the EP that has followed and seems to be a bit of a companion piece. The two that I'm going to kind of get a little bit out of the way are the ones that preceded them, or a little bit unusual. You did the duets record with Jessica Hoop.
Right, yeah.
And, the thing that I loved about Love Letter for Fire is that you described it as your Kenny and Dolly Islands in the Stream.
Yeah, we used to do that song, too.
Yeah?
Yeah, in the shows.
Yeah.
Kind of a broken, bent kind of version of it, but actually it was really fun. I always like that template for songs. It expands the narrative. It's like it's all about subtext instead of actually like a monologue. It's really fun.
Yeah. You... for maybe the first time ever, sort of gave up the complete, total dictatorial control over songwriting?
Yeah, that was a real treat, too. I mean, I think I got lucky with someone really talented that I trusted.
Yeah.
And was really inspirational. It's fun to dive in. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really easy. I didn't have a lot of practice sort of diving in. I'd had a lot of practice with other musicians, but not writers. Diving in and just seeing what you made, just the two together, without some end result in mind, just diving in and giving your faith over to the process.
So Sing Into My Mouth was a covers record that you did with Ben Bridwell, a band of horses.
Yeah.
You grew up with him.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. We were roommates for a while. We used to, get home from work and listen to records and talk about music. And then he went to Seattle and got busy, and I went other places and got busy. And but we had a lot to do at the beginning of each other's careers, and so it was fun to be able to come back and sort of revisit what we did when we were roommates, decades ago, but on record.
Yeah, he was instrumental in sort of shifting your life path.
Yes,
you had
definitely
gone out and gotten an MFA. You were painting, and then photography and film started up.
Right.
And music was a hobby until Ben passed a demo over to Sub Pop.
Yeah, and they called me, and I was pretty sure they had the wrong number. Because I thought I knew what Sub Pop was. I mean, in my mind, it was Nirvana and Soundgarden, those things. But yeah, it was a real treat, yeah. And so I tried to return the favor. So when he started the Band of Horses, I tried to take him on tour and give him a leg up because the music was great. Yeah.
So the film thing was what you were really into. You were making films, you were teaching, and I just was really struck when you were talking about your songwriting process that you sort of talk about your songs as if they're stories.
Yeah.
And I wondered if your background in film sort of led you to write that way.
Well, definitely. I mean, they definitely come from the same kind of source material, creative little, whatever my interests are. Yeah, they seem to go towards narrative and visual storytelling. I think it's part of the reason why I describe more than explain a lot in stories. It's a bit more like you can enter into the song because you have a relationship with birds and stones and of your own, instead of me describing like how to feel or describing in depth how I feel. You relate it to your life, paint a picture that people can recognize. And so I don't really grab from screenwriting and stuff. I think I was just interested in that because they felt similar to me. My approach to painting, my approach to songwriting, my approach to screenplays was they shared a common bond.
You know, when we got the record, I was almost troubled because I would look over at the cover and it would say Beast Epic. And it was sort of like, Beast Epic, what is that? And Beast Epic turns out to actually be a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. I have a poet's dictionary, poet's thesaurus, and that sounds pretty lame, but it's really fun. There's, they have definitions of like what a sonnet is and things like that. But it also has like little pieces that that you discover something. And a beast epic is a term used to describe a story where animals act like people, like the tortoise and the hare, Goldilocks, the three bears, these kinds of things. But I just thought that was a wonderful way to describe ourselves, animals acting like people.
Yeah. It's funny too, because I want to talk about the songwriting just a little bit, because on the face of it, it's like your songs are so beautiful.
Thanks.
They sound so soothing and so warming, and yet at the heart of them there's conflict and difficulty and struggle.
It's like me. No, I mean, I think it's like all of us. I make music that I like. I also think my voice is a thing that I can't really get around, and I tried to shout over punk rock songs. It doesn't really work. But I think it also, the things that I like to write about, they are complicated. There are soothing parts about it, and there's also, life is complicated. And I think that's what's interesting about it.
The thing that's like, I love your lyrics, right? And
Thanks.
I listen to them and I take my own meaning out of them, and maybe some of that's even the meaning that you intended. But the thing that strikes me about it is that for all of the meaning in your lyrics, your songwriting begins often as gibberish.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people. I think that's a pretty common thing, unless you approach a song like I have this set of lyrics and I'm going to find a melody to put them to. Usually you're just fooling around the guitar and messing around, like you just happen upon a melody, and then the words you start, like you said, just singing gibberish, just consonants and phrases, and then sometimes a word will stick, and then you start to build it off of that, or at least it gives you a starting place. You can change it later, but yeah, that's just part of the process that I enjoy, just sort of messing around with the guitar and humming nonsense.
We're incredibly happy to have Sam Beam, Iron and Wine, in the studio this afternoon, and we would love to hear a song if we
Thanks. Yeah, this is one off of the Weed Garden record I just put out. It's called Waves of Galveston. Leave the waves of Galveston, but only if you can, 'cause you've been hid behind the seawall, gently folded in the sand. Papa left you for heaven after your mama lost her song, and though your baby left you for Houston, no one stays there very long. There's a graveyard by the pizza parlor, a gate that only closes. Snowbirds fly away like secrets no one really wants to know. The climate moon's always shining on the kind of shells you keep. The broken horse tied to the water tower's running in his sleep. It's too bad that you ain't got a soft place to fall. It's too bad Texas leans to the least of us all, and says if you can make the music, then you can have the dance. If you can shoot the pistol, then you can wear the pants. Well, leave the ways of Galveston, but only if you can, 'cause it's the only place the Lone Star kind of offered you a hand. Your baby left you nothing but a dog she left for dead. You never knew you were a burden till it hit you on the head. It's too bad that you ain't got a soul, place to fall. And it's too bad Texas leans to the least in us all, and says if you can make the music, then you can have the dance. If you can shoot the pistol, then you can wear the pants.
Waves of Galveston, Sam Beam, Iron and Wine in our studios. That, of course, from the new EP, Weed Garden. You've actually have been playing that one for years.
Yeah, it's an older one. But I think I wrote it maybe right after I did a record called Ghost on Ghost a couple years ago, and it was sort of in that song cycle, but didn't quite make it for the recording session. And then when I tried to, we recorded it for this last record, and it just didn't seem to quite fit. And so, some are strays. So that's what this, even the title, Weed Garden, just seems like a big group of misfits. So.
Well, I've heard it described the title a couple of different ways. One was sort of like, these are the songs that were weeded out because they didn't quite fit.
Yeah.
And then going back into the weeds to finish the songs.
Yeah.
The thing that I kind of came to is that, it's like you share a trait with my wife. It's like she doesn't want me to pull the dandelions because they're so pretty.
Yeah.
So you strike me as being the guy that would find beauty in the weeds.
Yeah. On a good day. Except when I'm out there on my knees pulling them out.
So you've done EPs before.
Yeah, I think they're fun. I mean, because they're a bit non-committal. There's so much music now that you have to put a lot of energy into promotional work, and so those machines the wheels are large and don't move very fast. And so, but an EP, it's sort of more for the fans and just sort of a way for me to keep working. It's just a fun way to keep working, really. I like to work.
Yeah. So, famously, one of your EPs was a collaboration with the guys from Calexico.
Yeah.
And I've run into a few interviews where you say that you're going to go back to work with those guys.
Yeah, this year.
Can you hurry that up a little bit?
Well, I mean, I don't.
I don't want you to cut this short.
I guess I'll go. I'm excited about that. I love playing with them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. You picked up guitar at 15 and started playing it with your friends, and again, it was just sort of a lark, a hobby. But I kind of wondered if maybe that you got sort of permission to do that in your own head, maybe without even knowing it, because your grandmother had played piano by ear.
Yeah, she did. She played in church by ear. I think it's just sort of in the family. The Irish side of my family loves music. I mean, all my family loves music, but they were the ones who sort of dove into it. Permission is a funny thing. I mean, I grew up in the South where, the arts are important, but only when they're successful. It's hard to really embrace the weirdos. And so I've had to give myself permission over the years, and I'm glad, I figured it out as a grown-up.
Yeah, so you listen to country music, you heard the hymns in church.
Yeah.
Motown, 70s R&B.
Yeah.
And so with those influences, you went out and played punk music.
Yeah, I was swimming in the same water as everyone else my age. It's funny in hindsight to look back and see how much of a influence those things, those forms and those structures and those melodies had on me. I still think my favorite melodies are hymns. Yeah.
Yeah, the old ones.
Hmm.
Yeah. We'd love to hear another song if we could.
Let's do another one. This is one from the Beast Epic record. It's called Thomas County Law. Thomas County Law's got a crooked tooth. Every traffic light is red when it tells the truth. The church bell isn't kidding when it cries for you. Nobody looks away when the sun goes down. Thomas County Road takes you where it will. Someone's singing on the far side of other hills, and there's nowhere safe to bury all the time I've killed. Nobody looks away when the sun goes down. There's a couple ways to cross Thomas County line. You can't see beyond the trees, they're too tall and wide. And I never seem to see around my brother's wife. Nobody looks away when the sun goes down. There are castles for kings, there are birds without wings. I could whine about it all, but I won't. Thomas County Law's got a crooked tooth. There ain't a mother with a heart less than black and blue. When they hold 'em to the light, you can see right through. Every dreamer falls asleep in their dancing shoes. I may say I don't belong here, but I know I do. Nobody looks away when the sun goes down. Nobody looks away when the sun goes down.
That was really lovely.
Thanks.
Sam Beam, our guest, Iron and Wine, of course, playing tonight at the Midland. Lots of music out there. The two most recent, of course, Beast Epic and Weed Garden. So both of those were recorded in Chicago at Jeff Tweedy's studio.
Yeah, they've got a fun little clubhouse that I managed to steal the keys from. Keys for, anyway.
Clubhouse is pretty much the operative word there.
Yeah, it's really cozy. I've met them over the year, festivals and things. We have a bunch of mutual friends. And so, yeah, luckily I got to work in their little space. It's like, it's what I imagine like the Beatles submarine was like. It was like everyone, George and Ringo, everybody had their own little bunk and like a little workstation. I'm serious. Glenn has like all these percussion like little shells. It's crazy, but it was super fun.
Yeah, when you started out, it was not unlike what we're hearing today. And then as your career progressed, you kept layering on more things and experimenting, and it got bigger and denser.
Yeah.
And you picked the appropriate time to do that when you moved from Sub Pop to None Such, because the big labels always want bigger, right?
Yeah.
So that sort of facilitated
Not
that.
sure what they want.
Yeah, well,
They want
that's true
success.
too, right? But after you've experimented and after you've learned from all that experimentation, this time around, you sort of took everything that you'd learned and settled back into the old ways.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely as you grow and you live and keep working, you're always trying to push into some new area of, creative work, just to keep yourself interested and just see what's around the corner. I always like what's around the corner more. It's always more interesting than what you're working on at the moment. This one, so yeah, I couldn't get much quieter, so I just, was developing things. And so with this one, I wasn't really like pushing any like sonic, pushing myself sonically. I just was listening to what the songs were saying, and it just seemed more appropriate to have a bit more of a stripped down approach. It wasn't like I have to do something different than the other ones. I felt like the other ones were kind of fun in the sense that they were complicated sonically, but the message was simple. It's just a strange contrast. Whereas this one, I felt like it was more appropriate just to sort of let the lyrics be heard and let the song just sort of come and go, really. But at the same time, I feel like there's some, complex arrangements that I couldn't have done at the beginning without making those more fleshed out records, and playing with a lot of jazz musicians and things like that. You sort of learn how to make a complicated but also beautiful and broken and human expression just in a minimal way. I don't know.
So mostly acoustic this time.
Yeah, I think it was all acoustic, honestly. I mean, I think what I was really interested in electronic sounds was like this sort of dissonance, to counterbalance some of all the pretty that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But I've discovered you can make a lot of racket with dissonant noise with acoustic instruments too. So it seemed like the way to go.
So everything was simpler, everything was more laid back.
Yeah.
But that also gives space for some of your band members, and some of the arrangements you've used the word you've spoken of it as if it's almost improvisational at times.
It definitely was. I mean, there's pretty simple, folk kind of forms. There's only so many chords. We're not modulating all over the place. But inside those spaces, there's a lot of room to make melodic decisions, as an accompanist. There's lots of room for improvisation. I was approaching it a lot like some of the early 70s Van Morrison records, when he was playing with jazz musicians, or like those John Martin records. Obviously, like the Joni. I mean, those records have a really soft spot in my heart. And so inside that format, there's a lot of room for, expression.
When you play with people that are that accomplished, you have the production credit, but you've said that there was almost like a room full of producers.
Yeah, basically I didn't feel like we needed a producer because everyone came in with good ideas. I just sort of was the filter.
Yeah.
Really. I got to say yes or no. But I like being in charge.
Yeah. You've mentioned already that you like to keep working.
Mm-hmm.
The songwriting early in your career, you said that it was almost like the Brill Building. You drop the kids off to school and then you would go to work.
Yeah. I tried to apply some discipline to it because I feel like the more that you do it, you keep those muscles kind of loose and working. The easier it is. Now I'm not so good at that. I don't know. Life is complicated.
Well, having 5 daughters has a tendency to
it complicates things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I enjoy doing it just as much, if not more. I think I'm just not quite as hard on myself.
Right. You've spoken of your recent songwriting as being more relaxed. Is that just in the amount? Or
definitely in the amount. I haven't been working as much. But at the same time, just the approach is different. I felt like I had something to prove to myself. I think it's because I didn't really have a musical background. Just like my whole career felt like a fluke. So I had to prove to myself that I was deserve to be there.
It's been a really amazing and beautiful fluke. Just want to tell you that.
Thanks.
Sam Beam, Iron and Wine, our guest, playing tonight at the Midland, the new album and EP, Beast Epic and Weed Garden, and we'd love to hear one more song if we can.
Sure, yeah, thank you. This is thanks for having me. This song is called Autumn Town Leaves.
Yeah, in this autumn town where the leaves can fall on either side of the garden wall, we laugh all night to keep the embers glowing. Some are leaping free from their moving cars, stacking stones round their broken hearts, waving down any wind that might come blowing. Mice move out when the field is cut, and serpents curl when the sun comes up. Songbirds only end up where they're going. Some get rain, some get snow, some want love and some want gold. I just want to see you in the morning. Dogs lay down in the evening heat, fish do worse when they leave the sea. Songbirds only end up where they're going. And this autumn town where the lights can change, some get mercy and some get blame. Some get lost when they feel the river flowing. It's all holy smoke and the flame dies fast. We hold our hats while the days fly past. Cold wind comes and we wave, but it keeps going. Fathers, sons, and Holy Ghosts all come back or they all come close. Songbirds only end up where they're going. Some get hard, some go home. Some want flesh and some want bone. I just want to see you in the morning. I just want to see you in the morning.
Oh, I'm so sorry that that's over.
Thanks.
Sam Beam, Iron and Wine, is our guest, and I just want to say that you don't have to do these things. It's such a gift that you've given us today.
Oh, thank you.
And we so appreciate not only your artistry, but your time.
Thank you, and thanks for all your support over the years. I do it because, we're a team.
Yeah, I appreciate that a great deal.
Thank you.
Sam Beam, Iron and Wine tonight at the Midland, and the new Grammy-nominated album Beast Epic and the companion EP Weed Garden. I'm sure they'll be at the merch table tonight.
Thanks so much.
Sam, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Sam Beam, Iron and Wine on the Bridge.